Howdy, brothers and sisters out there in YouTube land. This is GratefulPanic, and I've got another review for you guys today. And kind of excited to do this review. It's a cool little knife that I've been meaning to review for a little while now, and I've carried it an awful lot, and I really enjoy carrying it. But first off, we're gonna go over what was in my pocket and on my belt today. And first off, we're going to start with the GEC number 44 Gunstock in OD green micarta. Great little knife, one of my favorites. I say that about a lot of the knives, but if I'm carrying it, it's probably one of my favorite knives. Second of all, the 511 Wharn For Duty that I got from my good friend JB over at Big Red EDC, and I absolutely love this knife. Comes in very handy. And next, Swiss Army knife of the day was my Alox Cadet. Just got your typical one-sided Swiss Army knife pattern, and with it being sans toothpick, that means I was carrying my Victorinox SD Classic American flag pattern with the toothpick. And also it's got the scissors, which the Alox Cadet does not have, and those things come in infinitely handy. And the fixed blade I carried today was the Bark River Knives Kalahari Bushman II in CPM 3V and black linen micarta. Another one of my very, very favorite knives. Great knife to carry. Very it's just useful in so many different applications. It's good for food prep, good for animal prep, skinning and cleaning animals. It makes a great skinning knife. And that leads us down to the nitty-gritty. The knife of the hour, the knife that we've all been waiting for, or at least the knife that I've been waiting for, the review knife. And like I said earlier, I'm very excited about this knife. One of my favorite little GECs to carry. And this is the GEC number 56 Bird Dog Jack in natural linen micarta. Starting on the outside, we've got nickel silver bolsters and end cap. We've got a nickel silver shield. Got brass pins, natural micarta covers, and 1095 blade steel. And this guy has a very nice spear point with the hand-drawn swedge that I love so much as the main blade. And the secondary blade is one of their smaller pen knives, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it serves its purpose. Let's get some measurements on this guy. We got a closed length of right at 3.5 inches. We've got a fully open length with the main blade out of 1 fumble inch. Right at 6 inches, we've got a full main blade length of 2 and right at 3/4 inches, and a cutting edge of 2.5 inches. We have a fully open length with the secondary open of 5 1/4 inches. We have a full blade length on the secondary of right at 1 7/8 inch, and a cutting edge of right at 1 5/8 inch. So not a bad little knife. Fits very well in the hand, and this serpentine pattern, it has great ergos. I mean, it just fits really great in your hand. It's a great little utility knife. Very sturdy. There's no blade play on either blade, and one of the good things, that's a big thing in my opinion, is there's no blade wrap, so you're not going to have to worry about rolling your edge on the back spring when you let it close on its own. The one complaint, and it's a minor complaint, it's a nitpick complaint, but it's just a minor dislike of mine, is this does not have a half stop, and I'm just a big fan of half stops on slip joint knives. And one thing I do want to point out that I think is really nice looking, the bolsters and the end cap have more of a brushed finish than a polished finish. It's almost like the satin finish on the blade, and I think it goes really well with the blade finish. Let's do a little weight on this fella. Start out in ounces, and we're looking at 2.7 ounces, so virtually nothing. You're going to drop this guy in your pocket or on a little belt sheath and not even know it's there. Grams wise, we're looking at 77 grams for our friends and family across the pond. So yeah, I mean, it's a very carryable knife, you know, no weight to speak of whatsoever. Another thing I want to talk about is, if I can get this to focus, you can kind of see it there. This the canvas micarta that GEC uses, I love how you can see almost like the grains in it. I mean, if you look close on their linen micarta, you can see it, but just looking at this knife, you can see the grains in that micarta, and you can tell that I carry this guy a pretty good bit, because right here, if you can see, the micarta is worn a little bit. I got this for a really great price, and it was brand new when I got it. I don't think it had ever been carried, and I think the reason that I got such a good price on it is the guy didn't have the original tube. He sent it in a tube, but it wasn't the original 56 Bird Dog Jack tube, which, you know, whatever, that's cool. Doesn't really matter to me. I mean, when you're saving that much money. Transitions wise, and I don't know what it is, I guess maybe micarta is so much easier to grind than stag or bone or wood, but the transitions on this guy are absolutely flawless. There's no catches anywhere. Fit and finish wise, I mean, there's no gaps. You can't see a single speck of daylight on it. This to me is fit and finish wise one of the best GEC knives that I own. And pull wise, I mean, it's got probably, I'd say, a 5.5 pull, which is, you know, perfect on a slip joint with no half stop, you know, on the main blade. The secondary blade is a little bit heavier. I'd say maybe a 6.5. But I mean, it's not a nail breaker. It's easy to open. It's not pinchable, but you know, no big deal. You can get your nail, your dirty nail, right up in that nail nick and open her right up. And you know, it's a good sized knife. It's not too big. It's not too small. It does the job that it needs to do. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this guy. I highly recommend it if you do get a chance to get a number 56 in any cover material and in any trim. And oh, I forgot to mention, this is in Titty trim. But if you have the chance to pick up a 56, you know, do not hesitate. You will not be disappointed. It is a great little slip joint knife. And we're gonna have one more little segment to this video. A couple of viewers expressed the desire once I mentioned, you know, the thumb, what I like to call my magic thumb, expressed the desire to hear the thumb story. And to make it short and sweet, basically what happened is I'm a machinist by trade, and I'm not exactly sure what happened. It was early morning. It could have been a combination of operator error and machine malfunction, but basically I was tearing down from a job. I mean, a horrible, just completely aggravating job that I'd been working on for about 2 weeks. I was so glad to be done with it. I was tearing down from that job and setting up for another job, and I was removing the tooling that I had used on the previous job, and I don't exactly know what happened, but I executed a tool change, and I reached in with this hand to grab the tool holder to remove it from the spindle, and when I did, the ATC swung around and executed a second tool change and smashed my thumb in between the ATC arm and the tool holder. And basically I got lucky. It caught me right here and basically severed it all but a piece of skin and meat from about here to here. The bone was completely severed. The skin was completely severed. It was just hanging on by a little piece of meat about that big, which I didn't know at the time, because as soon as it happened, I grabbed my thumb like this and refused to let it go, because I'm a squeamish person. I don't like blood and guts and gore, especially my own blood and guts and gore. And I went to my supervisor and I said, "The machine bit me, Scott, and it's bad. I need to go to the hospital." So he said, "Well, let me grab a rag." I said, "There's no need, because I'm not letting go of this guy. I'm not going to wrap a rag around it. Let's just go." And about halfway there to the hospital, I had such a grip on it with this hand that this hand was falling asleep. So it loosened up and the blood started coming between, you know, these fingers here, and he wrapped a towel around it. And as soon as I got to the emergency room, I went straight to, I guess, the admitting desk, and I said, "Y'all need to get me back as soon as possible because I have crushed my thumb bad. I'm losing a lot of blood and I'm about to pass out. So they got me straight back there. They unwrapped it, shot it up with a lot of lidocaine so that I couldn't feel it, and sat it in a betadine solution. And I refused to look at it. Would not look at it. I had no idea what it looked like. And my supervisor Scott was looking at it, and there's Junior being very quiet in his little hot rod. He's not revving it up today. But anyway, he was looking at it and he said, it's not that bad. You have a little cut right across here. So I'm thinking, okay, it's not that bad. It hurts like the dickens, but it just feels worse than it is. So they rushed me into emergency surgery. And when the surgery was over and the doctor came and talked to me, he said, well, Mr. Robbins, I did the best I could with what I had to work with. And I said, well, what do you mean it wasn't that bad? And he said, no, son, it was all that was holding on was this little piece of meat back here. So basically what he did was pulled the skin from here, brought it up, sewed it to my thumbnail, and let it heal for a couple of months. And when the bone reattached itself, it was actually jutting out, almost coming through the skin. So he had to go in, do another surgery, grind that bone down, and then bring this skin down and sew it to here. So I ended up losing, just a little bit of my thumb. Not bad. It could have been a whole lot worse. But there it is in a nutshell. And sorry if I rambled, but that is the thumb story. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it didn't gross you out too much. And I hope you enjoyed the video on the GEC Bird Dog Jack, because I dang sure enjoyed bringing it to you. So for right now, this is Grateful Panic signing off. And always remember, guys, stay alert, stay alive, and hey, do something nice for somebody today. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.